It's happening again, another storm blasting the already saturated east coast Tairawhiti. Another state of emergency, devastation and distress.
We do know, though, that when disaster strikes, New Zealanders are a generous bunch. Since Cyclone Gabrielle hit earlier in the year, tens of millions of dollars in donations have poured into the Red Cross's disaster fund.
That's right. But there's been a lot of social media backlash about how long it's taking for that donated money to reach those who need it most.
John Campbell visited the East Coast just before these latest floods to see if that criticism was justified and whether the Red Cross itself was getting a fair go.
This is Phil Parker's Red Cross office. That's young Phil himself, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah.
Phil and his office travel up and down the East Coast. Belt on and out again to where the damage is.
Roughly about 1,000 k's a week by the time I travel from home back down here, up through the coast, down to Waira, and then back home again. She clocks up that much. I'm here for the community, and when you see what the community's been put under, I think driving 1,000 k's a week is little to what they're going through.
As we were filming with Phil a late afternoon in Te Karaka just outside Gisborne, a rainbow appeared. And Andy, our cameraman, got Phil to stand beneath it. And it occurred to us that Red Cross's job is to make people going through tough times believe there is something brighter on the way. Maybe not a pot of gold, but something, hope.
People know that we do great work and that we can be trusted with their money to make sure it gets to the right people.
We met Sarah Stewart-Black, who's Red Cross's New Zealand boss, in Esk Valley, outside Napier. When the flooding came so terribly, the restaurant and function centre at this vineyard became a shelter, community centre, supplies base for people who'd lost their homes.
Hi. Good to see you. Good to see you too.
We've got some bits for you for the caravan.
From many makeshift bases like this, over a great stretch of the battered eastern North Island, Red Cross is distributing its care.
So these groceries have just come in today.
It's important to stress here every donated cent is being spent. None of it is going to Red Cross salaries or admin.
How much money did Red Cross receive in total?
So we're at just over 25 million now and still increasing but slowing.
And of that 25 million, how much have you distributed or spent?
Almost half. So $11.2 million has been committed, and we're still on track to commit the majority of the fund by August. So that's only about 6 weeks away.
So in the early days, it was amazing. All of this money, was coming in. The Red Cross were being very transparent about how much was being donated. And so it gave people hope that there was going to be money going to those who had been directly affected by the cyclone.
We've come to, you guessed it, Havelock North, where Chloe Johnson launched a Facebook page that got over 14,000 members.
He's just one of many Good Samaritans mucking in.
We met Chloe, very pregnant, on One News in February.
Oh, amazing.
These were the early days when volunteers were arriving desperately looking to help.
So I thought I need to collate this, I need to bring it all together. So I created the Cyclone Hawke's Bay help page, Facebook group, and the aim of that was to connect those who wanted to help with those who needed help.
Good dog.
With Oscar, the very good dog, keeping her company, Chloe watched as the volunteers came, gave their hearts and energy, and then they waited for reinforcements to come from the government and Red Cross.
So the volunteer community spirit was really high, and there was this gorgeous energy that was happening in the first couple of weeks because people were okay to step in and do that at that time, thinking that the government was going to come in and take over and look after us, or the charitable organisations with all of the donated money. And 3 weeks on, 4 weeks on, there was still nothing. We were still on our own.
So people are on the rack and they're saying, Red Cross, where the hell are you? Were you too slow in those early weeks?
We were there right at the beginning in terms of our disaster welfare and support teams were out in communities.
The problem was there were so many communities and the damage was so great and so widespread.
I think this has been of a scale that people were not expecting. When we think It's from the far north, right through Auckland, into Thames Coromandel, and then from Tairāwhiti through Hawke's Bay down to the Tararuas. This is an extraordinary scale and complexity of event.
Who knows exactly how much damage was done? Treasury estimates the total cost of Gabrielle and the Auckland floods will be somewhere between $9 and $14 billion. If Red Cross got $25 million, that's roughly 1/4% of the final bill. Think of it as saving one sheep when the farm has 400.
Looked back on from 4 and a bit months, what would you do differently?
There's always lessons to learn after an emergency, and it's important to ask the tough questions. You know, what didn't go well?
What didn't go well?
I think that's what we've got to actually work through. So for us, some of the challenge has been in communicating the work that we're doing.
I would have expected that an agency who specialises in disaster relief and recovery would have been able to roll out the plan at least a lot sooner.
History has lessons. It's 12 years now since the Christchurch earthquake. It too was in February, like Gabrielle. And when winter came, it too was tough in new ways. The event itself contains a terrible adrenaline. The endless aftermath is exhausting. People need to know that help is coming.
How long have you lived here for?
33 years, bro.
So born and raised?
Born and raised here, bro.
And how high did the water get?
Oh, about a metre up the wall, bro, yeah, roughly, yeah.
Whare Richardson lost everything, even his furniture. He's not sure his land can be returned to. Inside, the absence of a floor reveals what the silt and water claimed. The house is a shell with no bottom, a wooden tent. Uninsured, he had nothing, not even a shovel. And then Phil and his truck arrived in Te Karaka. Small things, but when times are tough, small things matter.
Whare, when you're losing your home,
Yes.
and you're not insured, everything's gone, what difference does it make when people are kind to you?
Oh, makes a big difference, eh, you know? Just goes to show you there is some good people out there, eh, you know? People that's willing to help and, you know?
So it just makes you know you matter.
Yeah, bro. Just when I thought there was no help, you know, just boom.
Boom. These are all booms. On its website, Red Cross has published every cent it's distributed. You can go there and see for yourself.
We've been trying to make sure that we're being utterly transparent about the way that the money is being used and how we're going about spending it and what on.
Red Cross can't deal with everyone. Sometimes they use approved community groups, which can mean they're not as visible. The challenge: ensure that government councils and Red Cross don't overlap or leave gaps.
It takes a bit of time to have those conversations.
To understand where the gap is.
Yeah, to understand where the gap is.
Perhaps they should have templated plans for different scenarios that could just be brought out and tweaked and edited in order to speed up that process.
Should the government be doing that work?
I think there's a range of responsibilities that sit with different organisations. I think the challenge is... Thank you.
That's a very diplomatic response.
The problem is this is going to keep happening, and uncertainty is so exhausting after a disaster. Could we coordinate better, communicate more? Because disasters, terribly, are our new normal.
Have you been looked after better by the Red Cross or the government?
Red Cross by a long way.
It's a lottery, eh? Like the cyclone itself was. In Esk Valley, Donald Crosby can't speak highly enough of Red Cross. A strawberry grower, Gabrielle hit him hard.
And how many strawberries did you lose, do you think?
I lost around 60,000 plants.
Donald is replanting super sweet strawberries. Look out for them. He hopes to have new fruit by November. Starting over is an act of faith and hope. It's hard starting back on your own.
One of the things that the fund is going to be doing is providing like an essentials home package to people who may have lost everything.
Around about a couple of months ago, they visited here and they were able to get an indication of the need, particularly for our most vulnerable families.
So that when they do move into their houses, they've got some furniture to start off with, building their lives really back again. So we're putting in some beds.
We have fridges, We have dining room suites, we have lounge suites, we have
Whiteware, furniture, bedding, crockery, cutlery, all those things.
huge weight off their shoulders. Yeah.
We're currently working up in Tolaga Bay, then further up into Hicks Bay, all through there. So that's quite a big journey to get up there.
This is such a big journey for us all. How do we manage our disaster responses so that if Phil and the Red Cross can't get to you, you're not alone? Finding the gaps, filling them with care, because the Red Cross can't be everywhere, but someone has to come.
I want to make sure that our people feel that they're recognised and acknowledged for the amazing work that they did as well, and how we build on that for the next emergency and the one after that and the one after that.
Oh gosh, and we're thinking of all those people in John's story, like those folks in Te Karaka, so badly hit again by the latest storm. Look, and a huge thanks to Chloe and people like her who give so much of their own time to give a voice to their communities.